Okay, Andy, so when you're ready, go into your routine for protection and asking for guidance. And if you can, um, and I know you don't normally do it, but if you can, just explain to us very quickly, as briefly as you can, the procedure that you're going through.
Okay, so for me, again, I normally go through like a sort of certain process to protect myself and provide myself with my own sort of spiritual protection, really. As you kind of stated at the start, Terence, I'm effectively entering into a different dimension. Not that I can really describe it in the way that it's not physical, but I know it's a dimension, or it's a place that exists where there are threats and there is negativity.
Let me stop you there, because we've already gone through a description of this process in an earlier clip. So I'm going to leave you alone now to go through your process.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
cool. So I'm just going to close my eyes for a second, which just helps me focus. So there's no real reason I need to close my eyes particularly, just that when you're actually thinking and things are going through your mind, it's easier to do it without the distraction of seeing the things that are in the room.
So when you finish the process of protecting yourself, and you're going to ask for your guides, just let us know at which stage of the process you're at. Okay.
Okay, so I've just done my own grounding and my own protection.
Okay.
So I've put grounding roots down, opened up my chakras, pulled through positive energy, which I see as like a gold light, if you like, and then put myself in a protected bubble. So at this point now, effectively, I'm ready to connect into that different dimension that we call spirit, if you like, and see what's actually happening with the client that we're working with.
Are you not going to connect with the guides first and ask them?
I've already done that, actually.
Oh, yeah. So can you tell us who's with us?
Yeah, so my guide Chen is the guy that I talk to all the time. So he's my, if you like, primary interface into the spirit world. So I normally just deal with him, and then as he needs other energies from that world, he'll pull them in. So for me personally, my connection is purely with him.
Okay, right.
So I have and do speak to other energies, but in this type of instance, when I know that we're actually working with a client that's got quite a high level of negativity with them, then for me I'd stick with my principal guide.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so I'm just talking to Chen now, so if I actually connect to the client, so first of all I sort of visualise basically the image of a person in my mind, almost in sort of 3D really, as you would see on a TV screen, and I can just spin them round sort of 360 degrees and then rotate them sort of top to bottom. So that kind of shows me very quickly what's connected, or what external connections there are. And then what I then do is what I call like a sort of split really, whereby I visualise that person split in half, and I can actually look inside their etheric field completely and actually see what's connected in there. So as I connect now, I can see that we've got two or three very thick cords that are connected into the back of her head, which again tells me that we're dealing with something that's more negative, or the level of negativity has increased since the last time. So that cording is very strong. I can see that her grounding level, so her connection to the planet, has been completely interfered with, and she has no grounding per se. So that tends to make people feel very dizzy or disconnected from other humans around them, and from obviously the actual planet itself. So my guide and his team are now just going off to perform like their version of a scan, whilst I continue to explain what I see really. So from an external perspective, I can see that there's almost like a suit of armour has been applied on the outside that, interestingly, is actually stopping or trying to stop my connection. So it's almost as though the client has actually been kind of put inside a different type of suit, which we could sort of describe as armour. And as I connect to that suit, I'm being repelled. So my vision is being repelled, and I'm struggling to actually see past what's there. And this is quite interesting from my perspective, because I haven't seen this type of thing before. Okay, so I'm just talking to my guide now, and basically having the same conversation that I've just had with you, to say that I'm unable to split the person in half and actually look inside that etheric field as deeply as I normally would. So him and his team are going to remove this outer layer, So he's basically describing it as like an impervious wetsuit, effectively, that's been applied, that's keeping out the vibration and the energy that I'm pushing towards her to try and actually open her up. So it's okay. So it's a kind of push-pull activity. So now this is happening. My guides are going to basically do this for me. They're going to provide the detachment of this, effectively this energetic wetsuit that's been applied around the client. And when they do that, then I will be able to see. At the same time, we've got different attacks coming in now from 2 or 3 different places, so I can see different energies presenting their faces into my mind. So I can see, which is again a sort of normal picture really, almost like gargoyles on top of churches, which I sort of perceive as being negative.
So they're trying to scare you with ugly faces?
Yeah, so there's ugly faces, there's verbal dissent as well, vulgar language, that kind of thing.
So they're telling you to...
Just distraction techniques basically, and it's pretty normal that, you know, once I connect to a client that's got this level of negativity with them, they obviously have their way and their process of trying to scare you and push you to one side. And obviously what normally happens then is once they realise that you're sticking with it, then obviously the attack becomes personal.
Mm-hmm.
And they start to attack me effectively,
Mm-hmm.
which won't actually work because my guides obviously provide me with the protection that I need. So I'm almost like an observer in a war that we described earlier, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of observing the war happening in front of me from a kind of remote position, able to correlate and interact in it, but not really being affected by it, which is quite nice.
Okay.
So okay, all these faces are still kind of being thrown at me and changing. And the other thing that the negative entities tend to do is they can seem to be able to look into your own etheric makeup, and they find things in your life.
They find weaknesses that they can exploit.
That they basically prompt.
Yeah.
So obviously I've got a family, wife, kids and such like, so the first thing they'll work on is the fact that if you carry on, we're going to do this to your children or your wife. Or so kind of go through this big dance. It's dance really of, you know, bravado, which a bit like 2 boxers before they actually fight, they both, you know, stand up, don't they, and do the I'm going to do this, do the other one type of thing. And so this is kind of what's happening now for
So
me.
it's a psychological attack, really.
Yeah,
to scare you.
It's you know, but it doesn't actually scare me because I've been through it so many times before now. I've kind of seen.
So you're a seasoned battler.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm seasoned, but yeah, I've just been. It becomes normal, I think.
Yeah.
Like all things in life, like even the oddest things become normal. And when I first used to do this and engage with some of these type of entities, I did get frightened and it did scare me.
You could use the analogy of the boxer when the boxer gets into the ring. You know, a seasoned boxer who's got a good track record of fights. You know, he knows how to deal with it, but a novice can get good pasting.
Yeah, of course, it's all right.
So you're a seasoned fighter in this particular arena.
Yeah, it's a place I spend a lot of time basically,
Okay.
and I've learned to manage myself and adapt to the ways that things work.
Okay, so for the education of those who are watching this and don't yet understand what's going on, carry on with explaining the battle that's unfolding in front of you.
Okay, so I've just asked my guide now to remove these pictures and images from my mind because obviously it distracts me from what I'm here to do.
Mm-hmm.
So Chen stopped that. So I've almost gone completely. So I've no kind of like mental process going on at all. It's almost as though my mind is totally blank now. So he's taken that whole thing away completely.
That's an interesting point. This business about the projection of images into your mind. So your guide can project images into your mind. Negative entities can project images into your mind. So as ordinary people going about our everyday business, we can have images projected into our mind from an external source, a bit like telepathic,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
hypnotic suggestion.
Yeah, same as that really.
Okay, I'm just going to leave that there, and you just carry on with
Okay.
what you're doing.
So okay, so I've kind of got to a point whereby my mind's now clear of what I was being subjected to, which is good. So Chen's removed this effectively etheric wetsuit from the client. So I can now see her properly, and I'm just doing the split now. So if I look inside, I can see there's a whole manner of, again, the way that I see things is the way that I see things, and I can interpret them in certain ways. So I can see almost like lots of different sort of booby traps that have been put into her etheric field. So a bit like we have physically with mines and such like, soldiers walk on mines, they get their feet blown off. There's a whole host now of odd etheric gadgets with wires coming out and all sorts of things that I can see that have been put into her etheric field that are there for me effectively, which is not expected but interesting. So again, I've seen this type of thing before. It's just, and obviously I don't really know what I'm dealing with now, so I've just backed off slightly and said to my guide, you know, this is going to be your area really to clear this. So sometimes I can go in and do things, but other times I'm wary that I've been bitten before.
So again, using an analogy of the soldier, the foot soldier on the battlefield, you're stepping into a minefield, you've identified it, now you step back and now you want the clearance guys to come in and...
Yeah, so I can see that there's a whole load of things that have been...
So you're doing reconnaissance really,
Yes,
but the real fighters are the guides and helpers from the spirit realm.
Yeah, so Chen and his team are the ones that are actually doing their work. So I was just asking him actually whilst we were talking who he has with him now. So he invokes different energies as he needs to, and he's just explaining that for this type of work with this type of problem, the level of negativity has increased rapidly, really. And he's saying there's a lot of ET involvement, which again, from my perception really, that you've got your kind of like your spiritual level, just these people that are wandering around, are fine. And then you've got low-level negative entities, they're sort of fine as well. And then you've got your sort of mid-level negativity that is intelligent and you can have conversations with, and they tend to know when they're losing and they'll back away quite quickly. So if I've got clients that have got schizophrenia or mental problems, those sorts of things, quite often if I invoke Chen and his team, the level of negativity realises that they're on a loser and they'll happily back away and they'll basically leave the client, which is good. This is obviously slightly different to that, so Chen's just saying that he's invoking his own level of extraterrestrial help, because obviously all things, there's my perception of it, there's positive and negative in everything really.
So everything has its equal.
Everything's balanced, yeah. So it's, as my guide and his team come against different levels, and he explains it to me almost like sort of between 1 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 being, ultimate universal energy, if you like. Level 12 is a level 12 negative energy to me is almost the flea that we talked about earlier, that you can just flick off. And as you start to invoke and come across different levels, as you get past sort of 5 towards 1, you're into quite heavy negativity then.
Okay. So where do you estimate we are now?
So we're at kind of level. I was just asking Chen. He said this is like level 4 layer that we've come across.
Okay.
So it's pretty negative, really.
Yeah.
Which also for me, when we talk about levels or I discuss levels to him, it's an easy way for me to understand where we are with things.
Yes.
And this is so when I looked at the client initially, I could see these big thick cords connected to the back of her neck, which told me that for that level of control, we must be dealing with something quite negative.
Right.
So my guide and his team now have invoked this 2 ET energies basically, and they're busy detaching these cords, and effectively they're wading through this arrangement of etheric booby traps and just pulling them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I can actually see, I'm still seeing the same picture that I saw before. I can see the person that's split in half, 2 halves of her left and right, and I can see all of these booby traps inside the wires coming out of, and all sorts of different apparatus, almost that we would see in the physical world really. And I can see this very positive level of energy is just in the middle, just taking things out and almost throwing them away really.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time that's happening, Chen and his team are basically working through like the outer levels of the client's etheric field and just basically pulling out what he calls sort of fragmentation negativity. So this is, again, I was just asking him to explain it to me actually. So he's saying again, it's almost like it's almost like an energy of negativity that's been interlaced into her etheric field to try and keep her vibration down.
Mhm.
So the whole key with this really is if you can make someone's vibration slower and more negative, reduce the frequency, then more negativity can attach.
It's like attracts like.
Yeah,
What we
basically.
call sympathetic resonance of frequency.
Yeah, that would be a good explanation. And also, again, the way I kind of tend to see things is almost like revolving, like a spinning wheel, whereby the slower the wheel spins, the more can jump on.
Yeah.
The faster you spin the wheel, the less can jump on. If they do jump on, they can't stay on
Get
for very
thrown
long.
off,
They
yeah.
get thrown off. So
So her energy vibration needs to be lifted in order to.
significantly,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I know from the conversation that you and I have had that she invokes herself in the kind of spiritual arena, really, in terms of meditation and yoga and some of these things, which of course are all good spiritual practices. One of the big problems I find, really, and it's my opinion really, is a lot of people work in the kind of spiritual arena, but it's the whole love and light, everything's great thing. And where I work, everything's not love and light, and it's not great.
So people who use meditation tapes and so on are vulnerable to the possibility of coming under psychic attack.
Hugely vulnerable, yeah, because
Yeah.
if their vibration happens to be negative,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, they've been through trauma or
If they're feeling depressed or
feeling down or been to hospital, those sorts of things, and they then play a meditation tape and open themselves up. If they haven't done their protection, psychic protection first,
right.
they're effectively in an arena they don't understand, and they've just opened themselves up to connection
Okay.
and problems. And again, many of the clients that I've seen over the past, a lot of them are what you would term as good, nice people.
Yeah.
You know, that haven't done drugs, haven't done negative things, but they've normally performed spiritual practices unknowingly to them that have left them exposed to connection.
So education is important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like everything, you know. It's like a car mechanic, isn't it? You wouldn't open the bonnet of a car and start playing with it unless you understand how it works and
Right.
what you intend to do with it. And I think
Okay.
lots of people in the spiritual arena tend to do that.
Very, very good point. Thank you for that. So how's the battle coming on with the patient, with the
Okay,
client?
so there's still a whole lot of things to remove. So Chen's just saying that from their perspective, the negative entities that they're working against have kind of increased their level of negativity. He's saying there's a whole list of effectively what we would understand as like portals that have been opened up inside her. So inside her kind of core energetic field, the concept of like a portal is basically a space where something else can come in.
Mhm.
And negative energies tend to do this. They get control of a person's energetic field, and what they can do is they can basically create like an area that effectively is a portal they can come in and out of as and when they need to.
Can't these portals be filled with light so that they can't enter?
They can, and that's the first thing that Chen's just saying they're trying to do is to close them, basically, because he's saying as they're clearing, more negativity is coming through these portals into her etheric field. So I'd imagine right now today she's probably not having a great day, really,
Right.
because I would expect her to be feeling some of what's happening here from a spiritual level. So Chen's just saying that they're looking to close these portals. He's also saying that there are various holographic controlling entities that have been invoked, which is something I've not heard of before. So I'm just going to ask him to explain that to me. Okay, so he's saying it's like an autonomous energy that's been basically left in her etheric field, like like a robot, really. So he's saying they're coming up against like robotic negativity or robotic energies that are kind of just appearing out of nowhere. So it's okay. So yeah. So what he's saying is the human understanding would be effectively someone's kind of left like invisible booby traps inside your physical body.
So they've been planted there before.
They've been planted there before, yeah. But now that they're being, this is since we cleared, I think. So all this has happened. So they weren't there when we cleared her initially. So
So
they've appeared since.
so I'm trying to find an analogy here, a bit like spy sleepers.
So yeah, Chen's just laughing. 'Cause he's trying to find an explanation for me.
Right.
And the picture he's just put in my mind, it said, you know, like Raiders of Lost Ark, when he walks into a cave, basically that looks empty, and then as you've crossed the threshold, if you like, warriors appear
Out of nowhere.
out of nowhere, and he's saying this is what we're experiencing, that
Okay.
it's quite a level of control that I haven't really seen before.
Oh, so
personally.
we're learning something new today.
So I'm learning something which is good. And this
Good.
is a great thing actually. Well, it's not great from a client perspective, but it's one of the things I actually like about this type of work is that it's never the same 2 days in a row,
Right.
and also there's never you don't actually have a kind of manual or a book to work with.
Right.
You have to work as things happen. You have to work through them and find resolution really.
Flying by the seat of the pants, really.
So it's which again is is the best
It's a
way to
challenge,
learn.
isn't it?
And I think this is one of the the other problems as well, is that this type of thing is very difficult to kind of process or organise in such a way to say to someone learning it that if you come across this is what you do, because it won't work most of the time, and you need to adapt and change the way that
Right.
you work. And obviously, from the conversation we've just had, my guides are doing the same.
Yeah.
So Chen's saying they haven't seen this type of holographic autonomous control that appears out of nowhere either. So him and his team are actually working against that, which I've been doing this for like 5 or 6 years now, and he's never explained this scenario to me, so
Right.
it's quite new.
So there are dimensions of the universe that are still yet to be discovered, even by our own guides.
Yeah, and Chen's the first to tell me when I speak to him, they're like us, they know what they know, but they don't know what they don't know effectively, and
They don't know everything.
no, and he's saying that he's happy to work up to a certain level, and after that he needs to call in other energies that
Right.
it's a hierarchical system.
Okay. What interests me now, I'm thinking of the well-being of the client, of the subject. Is she going to be okay?
Yeah, I would expect them to be able to sort the problem out.
Do you have every faith and trust?
I've not had a client yet today that's suffered long term. People do suffer obviously from this type of thing, but they're suffering before obviously, which is why they engage people like myself in the first place. But normally it's a short term problem for them, in that they'll feel very ill. Some people are physically sick, headaches, migraines.
But what concerns me about this particular case is that I would like to see a resolution today so that she doesn't have to come back again with any more attachments and problems. Do you think that's achievable today?
Yeah, I would hope so, definitely. And
Okay.
that's where I would be working as well, really. The conversation I had with Chen earlier was, he was explaining to me that because we're recording this and because it's effectively like a test subject, then it's the level of involvement is more negative than we would normally expect to see.
Okay.
As you say, it's like a war, isn't it, really? That
You have to keep bringing up bigger guns.
Yes, yeah, you invoke, yeah. But that's why I'm quite happy to say that from my personal perception, if you like, I know where I need to stop and I allow them to carry on.
Yeah.
So I think it's easy to become a little bit too egotistical, thinking that you're the one that's actually doing this stuff, when ultimately,
We know it's not.
yeah, you
Us
need your
at all.
guides and you need...
We're just the facilitators that call we're the foot soldiers that call for the backup.
Yeah, we're just spectators really for the
And the
most
real
part.
work is done by the spirit guides and the what some people like to call the archangels.
Yeah. So the angelic realm is somewhere I haven't had much involvement in. I have contacted and had conversations with some of the archangels, but they don't tend to, I guess they're pretty busy, so don't tend to to engage on my level very often.
Okay, so with this particular client, is there anything else that needs to be done at this time?
No, I think we've finished in that way. Chen's saying that they'll carry on for the remainder of the time required, which in our physical time is probably next 2 or 3 hours.
Okay, so if you would like to conclude with your routine, coming back to...
Okay, so again, the way that I kind of explain that is, again, I've been looking, if you like, remotely at this, almost like we view on our TV really. So I just pull my energy back towards myself, and then I see my own shield and barrier in front of me, and I basically allow my own, I don't open that barrier at all, so it's not like a door that opens. At this level, I just allow my own energy to basically come back through almost like a porous structure whereby I just put it back into me, but I keep the barrier in place.
Okay.
Because I used to actually open the barrier or the door and would find that it would be impregnated or some type of entity would connect immediately. They'd almost be waiting for me to do it, and I'd then spend hours trying to remove them from myself, which isn't much fun either.
There's a lot to learn, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a dangerous game, really.
Okay, but let's hope that we can carry on with these sessions, recording them for the education of all who need to learn.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Terence.